All eyes on Doge. Big run up to the moon. Whew. Doge still going up. All eyes on Doge. Still big run up to the moon. Keep going up. Going up. All eyes on Doge. Dogecoin. Upward movement in Doge. Dogecoin. Up. All eyes on Doge. Dogecoin. Upward movement in Doge. Dogecoin. 42.60. All eyes on Doge. Dogecoin.
Hey everybody, Kriss here. Welcome on a Friday. How is everybody doing? Holding on, right? We're holding on, trying to figure out what's going on with this market and what's going to happen tonight. Trump is supposed to speak at like 5:30. It's now 4 o'clock here, East Coast time. So another hour and a half. He's supposed to speak about something. Who knows? But it's after the stock market closes. He did this last week, and the market's dumped into Saturday, only for him on Monday morning to put out a tweet saying, well, we're pausing all bombing of Iran infrastructure, and the markets then went up, and someone in the Trump family made over $1 billion. Maybe, allegedly. Yeah, who knows? But if history repeats from just a week ago, with Trump making some statements about something after the stock market closes today, who knows? Who knows? It's craziness, right? Bombing is on, bombing is off. We're not going to touch infrastructure. And then Israel bombs the crap out of infrastructure. U.S. is doing some. They're sending bombs too. It just continues. There's a 15-point peace plan. There's not a peace plan. Iran is making their own plan. The United States doesn't agree with anything. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. And now the United States is going to be pulling resources out of Ukraine. Yeah, they're going to stop giving Zelensky a bunch of weapons so they can use it down in Iran. It's just craziness. So what do we got going on here? We've got Dogecoin holding 9 cents. Why is Dogecoin holding 9 cents? Good question. We're going to talk about that today. KrissPax Live. Welcome, everybody. It is a Friday, end of the week. We've got the weekend ahead of us. Stocks ended up down again. We'll talk about that. We'll look at some individual stocks, some stock performance, some things I'm looking at. I already bought one stock too soon. I thought I was getting a good price, and it went down lower today. That happens, but there's some others I'm eyeing as well on a possible continuation of the big pullback in the stock market. We've got gold and silver trying to figure out what's going on. We've got oil going back up today because, of course, the Strait of Hormuz, right? We don't have tankers going through. So oil is getting pinched around the world, and there's a lot of gas stations who don't have any gas, which is a problem. It's a problem. So we got all of that going on. Let me drop down here in the corner and let's talk about what is going on. And then we'll get to you guys in the chat. Thanks for showing up on a Friday afternoon in what is still a bear market. Kriss is still bearish. Yes. Continuing. I think all of you guys are now finally on board that it's a bear market. It took some of you a few months. It took a few months, but yeah, in the United States, gas did go down, right? Yep. United States is okay right now because we've got reserves, and Trump opened up the tanks on the reserves to try and keep gas prices low here in the United States because he doesn't want a recession here in the US. But eventually that's just not going to hold. But we'll see how all of that plays out. We start with Mario here saying, look, CBS is reporting the White House officials are cautiously optimistic on the ongoing negotiations with Iran. Those are words. Those are words. Mario says, I'm not. Iran is responding to America's 15-point proposal today. Let's see. And of course, they're not going to agree to it. They're not going to agree to anything on on the United States 15-point proposal because it's all bad for Iran. And they're like, yeah, we're not going to do that. So we'll see how that plays out. And of course, when Trump makes some remarks later, in about an hour and a half from now, who knows what that's going to be. I'm not planning on still being live then. We're not going to carry it live. I don't know. I don't even know if it's being broadcast or not. Well, DJ and Charlie, thank you for the super chat. Reminding everybody to like and subscribe here on a Friday afternoon. Nice to see you here. Saw you on Tom's stream earlier. We were over there with Charles too. Yeah, Charles is here in the chat as well. We were all over there seeing what Tom had to say. Tom was getting into like bond yields, and I was just like, bonds. That's right. That's what I want to do. I want to show the bonds charts. I'm just like, nope. Nope, I'm not doing bonds. I'm not going to show any bond charts. We're not going to do that. But Mario also says, look, the S&P 500 is broken below 6,400, a level not seen since September 2025. Stocks are down. And if the S&P drops another 90 points, it will be in official correction territory, which is a 10% decline from the peak. 6 months of equity gains erased in the overall S&P 500. Not good for stocks. There's a few that are doing well, but most are down, significantly down. There are many who are looking for buying opportunities for stocks, thinking stocks are going to hold up well, but I don't think it's time yet. And neither did Tom. Tom was looking at his charts and thinking the S&P still had a ways to go down. Meanwhile, another rough day for crypto here as Bitcoin dropped below 66K, ETH is below 2,000, and we'll look at a number of charts of various coins, see how they're performing, and look at possible price bottoms. Again, possible price bottoms, just like I did back in December. And I still have some of those fib charts on. We'll refer to them and see how the prices are doing on those that I called back in December. Some of them are getting pretty close to the bottom. What is a bottom, though? What makes a bottom? Well, BTC lost its trendline support today, of which I was showing that on my chart, not in a line, but in a channel. So I have this upward sloping channel here, which is a continuation of other upward sloping channels we've had in this bear market. And Bitcoin just dropped out of the bottom of that channel. As Kriss predicted this. That's my little white sketch here that I made. And that was back on Monday. I made that sketch. And it's dropping out sooner than I predicted. But the intention was there. The intention was there that that's what was going to happen, and it's happening now. Now, will Bitcoin try and come up and retest that bottom support line as resistance before going further? That would be like a typical classic move, is to come up and then go down further. We'll see. Right now, as we're heading into this Trump statements or speech, or he's doing, I don't know what it is. He's got some words coming out, and it's like, so we will see what happens with Bitcoin on that. So yeah, that is what happened today. In Ash Crypto, of course, why is the market dumping? Well, it's a bear market. The technical analysis folks and all those that believe in history just say that. But there's always reasons for that. And news will always be more important to the prices than any technical analysis or fib lines or anything like that. But I got into a whole thing with Big Blue on X about that, because he was convinced that Monday morning's pump in the crypto market was because of his precious inverse head and shoulders patterns. And I'm like, if Trump hadn't tweeted what he did, the price wouldn't have gone up. It has nothing to do with your stupid inverse head and shoulders patterns. And we got into it again. But hey, it's a difference of opinion. It's all good. I support Big Blue because he just continues to post a lot of charts. Now he probably posts maybe too many charts for most people's liking, but he's having fun with it. At least he's doing something, as opposed to a lot of people who just like to complain but don't really do anything. So yeah, but look, why is Bitcoin below 66K? Number one, there's no ceasefire. And as the war continues, is it a war? Well, Congress didn't declare war. Is it a conflict? Is it just aggression? Is it just bombing? What is it? I don't know. I don't know what it is. But the US is still attacking Iran. Iran is still stopping ships, and uncertainty is continuing and even increasing. Number two, the bond market crisis. This is what Tom Crown was talking about today. The bond markets, bonds, James bonds, right? The Japan bond yields are hitting new highs. Japan bond yields are hitting new highs. The Japan 10-year bond yield surges to 2.3%, the highest level since 1999. We're going back 27 years. Some of you aren't even that old. Some of you aren't even that old when Japan's bond yields were up this high, and here we are again. This is bad. This is really bad. Japan's economy, which is one of the largest in the world, is hurting big time. So there's your bond chart for the day. I hope you enjoyed it. As Tom showed, the US long-term bond yields are soaring. The MOVE index is going higher. I don't even know what the MOVE index is. But hey, Ash Crypto says it's going higher. This is because of rising inflation expectations due to what we have now is an energy crisis. The markets don't like this. We have a hawkish Fed. The market now expects no rate cut in 2026. That's correct. Look at this. Right now, the rates are at 350 to 375. Right now, there's a 95% chance that that holds in the April FOMC. And then we go forward to June when Kevin Warsh is supposed to be the new Fed chair. And not only is there still the most likely chance that rates are held, but now the chance that there's a rate hike is up to 16%, which continues up higher and higher throughout 2026 and into 2027. It's not till the end of 2027 do we have a chance right now that there's going to be a rate cut. So that's not good. There's nothing to look forward to there, and that's not what Trump wants. So we will continue to watch that as well. A hawkish Fed is bad for risk on assets. It drains liquidity from the market. So Ash is paying attention to what Trump's language is. Of course, the markets tend to react very quickly. Yesterday, he said the stock market hasn't come down a lot. Well, that's not good because it could go up, down more, right? He isn't worried much about the stock market. He should be. Once his tone changes, the undervalued market or best time to buy, a reversal could happen. So when is the best time to buy? When is the best time to buy? Well, for Doge, could we see an 8-cent floor? So for Dogecoin, we do want to look at Doge's dip that we had back here on February 5th. That was 8-cent Dogecoin. That is the bottom of this cycle, of this bear cycle so far. The bottom is 8 cents, that February 5th dip. What has happened since then is with each of Dogecoin's runs up, when it comes down, it pretty much stops at 9 cents with wicks and a little bit of trading just below at 8.9. It got down to about 8.8 here in late February. So, and even our friend Jason posted he picked up 8.95 Doge this morning on one of these wicks. 895 Dogecoin. So is it too early to be buying Dogecoin on the dips? I am still a little pessimistic and I'm waiting. I don't know when I'm going to start buying, but it is going to be soon for Dogecoin because of what's coming in April potentially. And I don't want to miss that train and still be sitting on the sidelines as far as Dogecoin is concerned. Other cryptos, I'm waiting and I'm more patient. And I'll continue to be more patient on buying other cryptos. But Dogecoin, I am going to be buying some probably in the next week. If we get a dip down to like 8.5 or something, I'll probably start DCAing and buying. Could it go lower? Sure. It could go back to 8. It could go down to 7.9, dip into there. I'll pick up some more. I'll be buying on the dips. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen. Dogecoin is under pressure right now with the meme coin trading at 0.0901. And it is actually 0.0901 right now. Hey, this article is like very timely. It's the exact price. There are macro headwinds. We know that. They have hit risk assets hard. We know that. Every time Dogecoin goes on a little run, it gets beaten back down. We have rising treasury yields. Talked about the bonds, right? We have liquidations continuing. And of course, Kriss, because this is what I do, I predicted on Wednesday that Bitcoin would go down to at least 66,625 on this tweet, because there was this huge $187 million, huge, did I say huge enough? Huge liquidity spike right there at 66,625. And of course, what happened this morning? It took 2 days for Bitcoin to follow through and take out the long leverage trades that had built up at 66,625. It did that this morning. Kriss was correct again, because it is the news and the leverage trading that determines the crypto prices, not lines on a chart. And I will continue to say that. My point of view, you can love it or hate it. I don't care. But a head and shoulders or reverse head and shoulders or inverse head and shoulders or cup and handle and all that doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. That's just trading up and down. It's all that is. We get M's, we get W's, doesn't matter. That doesn't tell you how things are going to trade in the future. But leverage can. And prices will react to the news. Always. 8-cent support is critical level for Dogecoin. Critical level. Anything below 8 cents could cause further big dips in the price of Dogecoin. We don't know. I mean, there could be meaningful support down at 7 cents. I had predicted 6.7 on the low on a dip sometime this bear market. Don't know if that's going to play out, but in the short term, we got some good news coming up in April, possibly for Dogecoin. And so I will not be waiting until August 5th to start buying Doge. I'm going to start layering in probably over the next week and see what happens. Pennybag says, look, the SEC literally classified Doge as a digital commodity. People still call it a meme coin. It's the 9th largest crypto. It's the 2nd largest proof of work blockchain. Spot ETFs are live on NASDAQ, although there's not a lot of buying yet. It's being accepted as payments. And at what point does the narrative catch up to reality for Doge? Doge God says, look, Eric Trump just said cryptocurrency is going to replace traditional finance. You know, Eric Trump isn't talking about Dogecoin, but in our world, when we talk about finance and we talk specifically about payments, Dogecoin is a much better transactional cryptocurrency than any other crypto. It's just a fact. So, how will that influence Doge in the future? That remains to be seen. XRP going to zero. You've got a good point there. That's your opinion, though. I think the news will cause Doge to have a little pump. It's not going to be a huge pump, but it'll be a little pump. Because that's what Dogecoin does. I mean, what are all these little, these are all pumps. All these little pumps on Dogecoin. Now, are any of these pumps huge? No, they're all about, it's 15%. But you know what? I'll take 15%. This one was 15%. This one was 10%. This one was 8%. You can have your cash sitting in a bank account, I mean, or one of these like Robinhood bank things and getting 4%, but you can get 8% in a few days on a little pump. So I'm going to play that game. I'm going to play that game. Just with Doge, nothing else. So I'm looking to do that. And we'll see how the rest of this plays out. And what am I talking about? I'm talking about SpaceX, its IPO, talking about X money, going into at least a limited public launch. There's a lot of excitement about that. And who knows what else? Is Elon going to do? I'm not relying on Elon, but I mean, he is kind of tied to SpaceX. He's tied to X money. Something might happen, and I don't want to be stuck on the sidelines like I know some people were back in 2021. I'm not saying Doge is going to do what it did in 2021, but there were a lot of people sitting on the sidelines when Doge started to go crazy. And I'm not going to miss that. I just at least want, again, I sold my Doge between 31 and 42 cents. So buying back in at 8.5 cents, that's not bad. That's not bad. Will the price get better for buy-ins? I think there will be, and I'm not going to go all in on Doge, but I want to have more than I have now. So, Super Dave, trading XOM. Yeah. Yeah. Oil back up over 100. X money will be delayed. It's delayed and it will continue to be delayed. Now, Elon said April 20th. We know Elon is typically wrong about these things. Well, he didn't say April 20th for that. I think he said April 20th maybe for the SpaceX IPO, which another news organization said would probably be closer to June. But 420 would be ideal for X money. We'll see. It might take a month to play out, but 0777 is getting closer. Yes, indeed, it is. Dogecoin at $8.99 right now. $8.99. April will be a black swan event. You mean like a full out, like huge wick candle down, like we had back on October 10th or February 5th? We're going to have one of those in April? We could. We could. April will be another hyped up nothing burger like always. I know. Yes, Roddy, you're right. Doge is already a good buy now if you can hold for a while. We know it has pumped high before. This is a relatively low current price. Agreed. Agreed. And I like it when people say Kriss is so right. You recognize that. Yes. Dr. Doge, how are you? Ryan's waiting for 6 cents. You're not just buying on dips. You're waiting for a price now. You got a big bag. You're set. You're set. Yes, the next week I will be buying some more Doge. I don't want to miss out if something big happens. So I will be doing that. Is anyone solo mining Doge? I don't know, Chad, is anyone solo mining Doge? I am not, because AlphaPax just totally lied to me. That didn't happen. So I am not. Everything is looking bad. But Trump says everything's good. We're winning, right? We're winning. Are we all winning? Everything is looking on sale. Not bad, young F. Draco says. You know, big bag. Yeah. I've got a decent sized bag now. I want more. I want more. So, yeah, 420. Why not? Now, 420 in 2021 was actually a huge pullback in the price of Dogecoin. It was getting heavily shorted then because everybody hyped it up so much. Doge was doing fine without that big 420 Doge Day thing. But yeah. Hey, Ryan, it's funny how everyone wants to wait for lower prices, but when it's at 20 cents and they say they'll buy at 10 and then it hits 10 and they keep lowering the price they want to buy at. Yep. That's how it works. That is how it works. So what does this mean on a bigger scale about bottom prices? So I took off my fib line here that I had from before because it was getting in the way of my charting. But that's the one that went down to 6.7. And on Bitcoins, I took away that fib as well because I've been doing other charting as well on Bitcoins. And I got to go back and look. But one thing that a lot of people are talking about is this blue line, which is the 200-week moving average. Now, if you remember, the 100-week moving average was up here. And once it fell below that, that signified a bear market. At that time, that was where that moving average was. Many are saying the 200-week moving average, we need to have Bitcoin drop below the 200-week moving average to signify a potential bottom for the bear market. And so that would be anything below 60K. And then there was my price target that I had at 50, right around 50. And then I had this arrow when I was talking about relief rally and then pullback. And the pullback again was around 50K. There are many who are doing other fib lines that go down to like 35 or 40K. I don't know if Bitcoin's going to go that low or not. We have no idea. But at some point in time, like Ryan said earlier, right? At some point in time, you got to start buying back in. You're never going to time the bottom. So you dollar cost average, you layer back in near the bottom of the bear market, which could be starting now. But like I say, I think there's going to be lower prices in many coins more toward the end of the summer. But Dogecoin is doing something different. Dogecoin is down 2% today. Bitcoin is down 4%. So what happens is, let's look at the daily chart. So what happens typically is on a red day, Bitcoin goes down and Dogecoin usually goes down harder. Usually Doge goes down more. That's not happening today. Bitcoin has dropped twice as much as Doge has on the day. So that, to me, signals a little bit of strength and support for Dogecoin. I'm looking at that, and again, it's a short time frame, but I'm looking at that and I'm saying people are buying Doge on the dip when it dips below 9 cents, like it has been doing for the last 3 months. Well, 2.5 months. But that's what Doge has been doing. It comes down to 9 cents, we get a wick below, and it comes back up again and again and again and again and again and again and again. And it's done it 6 or 7 times. Yeah, 6 or 7. So that is what is happening. So I'm just telling you what I'm looking at and what I see. And I see Doge looking kind of strong in support right now. Of course, Ryan, 6 or 7. 6 or 7 times. All right. So if we go to the weekly chart again, and we look at some of my charts that still have my old fib lines, we look at Litecoin. So this was back in December. This was back in December during a live stream, and I did bear market bottom predictions. And my prediction for Litecoin was $50. Now on February 5th, Litecoin actually wicked a little lower into the 40s, but came back up. So that $50 fib line right there is still in play for a bear market bottom. A consistent bottom, not just a wick. So, and all of mine are still in play. So we look at XRP. So XRP, my bear market bottom was $1.20. $1.20 for XRP. So William, XRP, right? What price are you looking at as a buy-in price? My fib line that I did back in December was pointing to $1.20. $1.20. Now we did have a wick down on February 5th, and it did wick down to about $1.12. But again, that was just a short little black swan event, and price came right back up. So $1.20 is still on the chart there. Solana, I don't remember what we had done on the fib line, and I might have to go back and recreate it or something and see what that Solana was. But right now, I'm looking at Solana and whether it goes below $80. If Solana goes below $80, Kriss earns 2 Solana tokens. We have a bet, me and Big Blue. We have a bet. 2 Solana tokens. If before August, Solana drops below $80, he owes me 2 Solana tokens. And I took that bet. And that was a couple weeks ago. We made that bet. And now Solana's at $82 and it's looking very bad. It's definitely going below $80. Yes, he offered the bet, Ryan. He offered the bet. And I was like, I'll take that bet. Sure. He was so confident. In fact, he said, if in August Solana had not dropped below $80, I only had to pay him 1 Solana. So I got an extra Solana on the deal. He's so confident of his charts and his inverse head and shoulders and all that stuff. And I was just like, dude, Solana's going below $80. I know he better pay up. I'll get the whole KrissPax army on him on X if he doesn't. He's the one who offered the bet first. He said he's the one who made the bet. He was so confident in his technical analysis. So you're in at $1.20, Will? You're in on XRP at $1.20? Well, that was my fib line. Now, if those numbers end up being the bottoms, I rethink the whole fib line thing because there may be some truth to it. There may be a little truth to that. That could end up being one of the best forecasting live streams I've ever done. Was back at the end of December when I did all those fib lines for those price retracements. Because I was convinced prices were going lower. Not all of you guys were on board that we were in a bear market yet, but I clearly was, and we're seeing it play out. So that is what's happening. Mr. XRP going to 0 says XRP at $1.20 won't hold. I wonder why, with a name like XRP going to 0. Why would you think that? Your charts are not dead on. Oh, no. Nobody's charts are dead on. Even my charts, which are pretty good, aren't always dead on. So, yeah, you better watch that word always, because always, no, I'm not buying that. Not buying that. Always crap. No. Where are you posting your charts? Are you on X? Are you posting your charts? Doge 5 cents? XRP 70 cents? I know, right? You should never speak in absolutes. Exactly. That's what when my kids were growing up, I used to say, I hate when people use the word hate. They would laugh at me. They always thought that was funny. But it made a point. And the point was, don't use the word hate. You don't hate people. You might dislike people. Don't say you hate people. So I can always predict the future. JK, yeah. I don't have a chart. You should get a chart, DB. Yes, you should get a chart. Even our friend DJ and Charlie is starting to look at charts, and pretty soon she's going to start doing fib lines or something on charts. She's going to do it. It's coming. It's only a matter of time. She's showing the charts during her live streams. The next thing, she's going to be drawing lines. That's how it happens. That's how it works. You get sucked in, and then you're drawing lines on charts. Oh, God. We don't know what's happening between China and Taiwan. But if we have a China-Taiwan, a real thing, we'll have Russia and Ukraine, we'll have the US and Israel and Iran and Lebanon and all of that going on. Is that a world war then? Would you call that a world war? We've got wars going all over the globe. That would be bad. That would be bad. Are we booming? Hey, crypto dogs, how are you? No, we're not booming. That DJ and Charlie scares me a little. And here she is. Her ears were ringing. We were talking about her, and she shows up. DJ and Charlie scares me too, Turbo says. She eats spam. Well, that would make it fall under the category of world war. Yes, I think it would too. If we have that going on too, because you'll have China at war, you'll have Russia at war, and you'll have the US at war all at the same time, that would make it a world war. Yeah. Yeah. She told us she wasn't here. She was lurking. She was lurking. Dave, if you get your prediction right, you can celebrate with spam and Kemp sushi wraps. Yes. Unfortunately, we're celebrating something that's like bad, which is low prices, which we don't want, but it's happening whether we want it or not. It's happening, whatever. And here we have Doge now back below 9 cents. It's dipping back down at 8.97. Who's going to buy when it gets down to 8.95? Who's buying on the dip? Who's buying on the dip? Spam pudding? Yeah, I don't think I would try that. I see everything. Ask the 8-ball. 8-ball only does yes or no questions. That's the thing about the 8-ball. For buyers, it will be good. If there is full out world war, hey, maybe that's the black swan that someone was talking about earlier coming in April. Would be that. China invades Taiwan. That would be bad. That would be bad. Oh, you think that should be the 8-ball question, is if we're in a world war? I'm saying no unless China gets involved somehow. And if it's Taiwan, then I will say yes. So I don't need the 8-ball to tell me that. I'm not scared of Degen Chuckles. She's friend. Yeah, Campo, thank you. for your support. Now, we also have, while we're thinking about things like war and bear markets and all of that, we also need to talk about the security and safety of your crypto. If you recall, right, I use Ledger crypto hardware device. This is my Ledger, my Nano S Plus right here, where I keep my crypto safe and secure. I do not use my Ledger Live. I don't use Ledger Live. I don't trade on Ledger. I don't swap on Ledger. I only use it to store. Now, Ledger, and I told you guys the next time Ledger was on sale and they had a deal going, I would let you know. Now is the time. Ledger wallets are on sale. Now, they don't call them wallets anymore. If you remember, they call them signers. They're calling them signers. Nobody's on board with this. I get why they call it a signer instead of a wallet, because there's no crypto that actually sits on this. This doesn't store crypto, right? It basically just stores your, it's sort of like a pointer to, like, you own this crypto, like over on that blockchain, and you sign it in and out is basically what you do. So they call it a signer. It's a wallet. We all call it crypto wallets, but they're trying to like sell this whole thing called signer, and it's not. I mean, technically, I guess that's more closer to what it is, but nobody cares. It's a crypto wallet. Anyway, if you buy right now, and I have a link in the description below directly to Ledger. And if you use my link, I get a little something back from Ledger. They give me a little affiliate, like 1% or something. But I do this in order to help you guys keep your crypto safe. Because if you keep it on exchanges, exchanges use that. They lend it out to shorters who are shorting the market. Do we want that? Now, you will get the most crypto back, which is Bitcoin. Essentially, what they're doing is they are giving rebates in Bitcoin. And rebates in Bitcoin at 60K is much better than a rebate in Bitcoin when Bitcoin's 120K. It's half the price. It's half the price. This is the time you want to start looking at buying a Ledger, because when I bought my Ledger, Bitcoin was at a price of 17K. 17K. And Bitcoin at that time, I mean, over time, has gone to where I've basically paid for the whole Ledger, where it's now free because of the increase in the price of Bitcoin. So we are getting to that point now. If you want a Ledger Stacks, you get $80 a Bitcoin. If you want a Ledger Flex, you get $70 a Bitcoin. If you want the Nano Gen 5, which is their newest product, which is essentially the same thing as this, except with a touch screen on it, that costs $179 and you get $40 of Bitcoin. That is a great bargain, I believe, right there. Great bargain right there. Now, you can also get the Nano X and the Nano S Plus. The Nano X is now $99 and you get $20 of Bitcoin. The Nano S Plus is $59. It used to be $79. Now it's $59. The Nano X used to be $149. Now it's only $99. Because I think they're trying to clear these out because more people want these touchscreen ones up here. But anyway, check it out. Just click on the link, take a look at the Ledger devices. And if you need a place to store your crypto, I highly recommend Ledger. This is what I use. Again, I only talk about products I actually use. I don't go shilling stuff because people just pay me to do it. I get emails every week from these offshore crypto exchanges and all this stuff, and they want to do deals with me, and I say no. I support Coinbase, Robinhood, and Crypto.com. because those are the 3 exchanges I actually use. I don't use MEXC. They're wanting to do this partnership with me, and I'm like, nope, I'm not doing it. So if you have any questions about ledgers, let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat. Safer than a bank. Spam. I keep my crypto in a can of spam. Oh my God. Ryan says this is the time. Well, if you want to get that Bitcoin rebate, Bitcoin's really cheap right now. I'm just saying. A divine moment of 6-7. Yeah. Is there any chance Doge hits 50 cents by the end of the year if the war ends? Probably not. No, you got to give it a couple years. In my humble opinion, you got to give it a couple years. Dave says anything can happen. Sure, anything can happen. But in Chris's opinion, yeah, no. It's like Arthur Hayes still calling for like $200,000 Bitcoin in 2026. And it's like, Arthur, have you seen what's going on in the world lately? You're wrong again. He continues to be wrong over and over again. Just like Tom Lee continues to be wrong over and over again, calling for super cycles and extended bull markets. And this is just a minor pullback. Prices have cut in half or more. That would be bear market. 22 cent tops. Yeah, I would agree with that. If we're lucky. I was calling for 13.5 on a relief rally, 13.5, and I don't think we're even going to get that. But you never know, which is why I want to scoop up some Doge. Kriss would not make a very good salesman. Yeah, I'm not in sales. That's not me. I try, but yeah, that's just not me. Let's just say our current president has different priorities, like what's good for him. But that's all. Oh, you went double time on the stream? I must have been talking really fast and now I'm really slow, right? But yeah, if you think he's a clueless president, remember our prior president who had dementia, actually? Yeah. So we did have that. As Turbo says, yeah, so much better. From the all-time high Doge in this cycle, where are we on the fib retracement level? It depends on where you draw it from. So there's a number of ways you can do it, and we've talked about this before. It all depends on where you draw it from. Typically, what you see is you take the prior bottom from the prior bear market, and you just go from there up to the high. And then you pick your line, right? The 0.618 was 21.5. But people don't do that, right? They go down to what is this? The 8.6 at 14.2, and it's already lower than all of those. So that's already flown out the window for Dogecoin. So those didn't work. Now on Bitcoin, what would Bitcoins be if we did the same thing for Bitcoin? Go back to November 2022 at 15.6, and we go up here, and the 0.786 is 39.4. So on Bitcoin, that's in play. 39.4 is in play. The 0.618 is 58K. That's still in play too. And that aligns with the 200-week moving average, the 0.618. But again, the fib lines are all, I mean, just whatever you pick for top and bottom. People are doing fibs all the time, changing their points to get the lines they want rather than what the actual line should be. Happens all the time. Pick a line, any line. Pick a line, any line. $420 on $420 with X payments. Yeah, I don't think so, Joseph. I don't think so. No, I'm just as slow as the rest. I've always been number one in sales. Yeah, dumb dementia. Gotta be honest, didn't like Biden at all. Supported Trump before he was elected. Biden was miles better. No, they were both disasters, just for different reasons. Welcome to politics. Both disasters for different reasons. Campo says, Ryan, I'm not too slow for a 6-7. You guys both have 6 7s in your name. Yeah, you do it from the November high to where, though, right? You got to pick a second point. That's why people look at the overall cycle. They look at the previous cycle, bottom of the bear to the top of the bull. And the top of the bull was actually beginning of December 2024. I don't know. That's how people do it. To the low on the December dip. Why would you do that? December dip. Which December? I don't know what December dip you're talking about. Like that. That would still be the 1.618 at 13 cents. We already went below that. Again, it's just points are points. Doesn't mean anything other than what I did. It's all that matters. China's in trouble right now, running out of oil. Yeah, I guess a couple of their tankers were starting to go through the Hormuz, and Iran stopped them. They didn't blow them out of the water, but they stopped them. So, right, you drag from top to bottom. Yes, you drag from top to bottom. But top to bottom was the previous bear bottom to this cycle's bull top. So 69 is the real language of the gods, yes. Heat map. Heat map. See what's new in the world of leverage trading. I'm not logged in. So this isn't going to load for me now. Pop, 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 pop. It's not going to give me the 2-week. Well, it's never done that before. Won't even give me the 3-day. Jeez. All right, I gotta log in, I guess. Let me go to a new window. Come over here. Log in. See if that worked. Here we go. Got it. I'm alive. There is, I know there's longer standing. When's the last time Bitcoin was down at this price? Should go back to February. Yeah, that February dip. Not a lot down there. Look at all the shorts making a lot of money when we zoom out. That's a lot of money. Not a lot of danger zone. 64.2 seems to have about the most for Bitcoin, but it's not bad on the downside right now. That's because a bunch of traders just got wiped out. So, yeah. The biggest thing that's open right now are these shorts up here at 72K that didn't get wiped out on the wick up. But not much going on. Otherwise, not much going on the heat map right now. They have to reload. In the short term, we've got, you know, a clump right there at 65.1 on the downside and 67K on the upside, 100 million. It's 67. That's what we got for the heat map. And then, of course, Doge, which is where I wanted to go while we're here. $8.8 down to 8.8, and they can flush out millions down to 8.8. And then on the upside for the shorts, 9.1 to 9.2. Again, leverage trading. Dogecoin is just right in the middle right now, not really taking out much leverage. It's all lower or higher right now, and Doge is just trading sideways in between. That's what's happening. Wish my shorts were making money. Yeah, always 6-7. It just keeps coming up. Just one of those things. If we get a little relief rally to take out that high level on the heat map, we could. We could. Do we bounce from here or do we dip more? In about half an hour, Trump is going to be saying something. And I don't know. I think he's just going to be lying again. You can't believe what he says. I don't know. But they're still building up over there. More weapons, more planes, more people, like troops. And they say, yeah, we're not going to go in. But why are you sending like 50,000 troops to the Middle East if you're not going to go in? Why would you do that? Trump's going to say how much Iran loves him. Yeah. God. It's to the point now you just can't believe anything he says. Dip, if Trump is taking it, just means stalling for time. Yeah. I don't believe anything he says. I don't believe anything he says. But we stopped the daily grind down and we're kind of settling here. Bitcoin at 66K, Doge at 9 cents. That's where we are right now. So that's what we got for today, guys. It's a Friday. I'm going to go have something to drink. What are you guys going to do? I'm going to go have something to drink and get ready for the Celtics game tonight. Celtics playing Atlanta. Jaylen Brown's not playing. He could have an injury, which is bad for the Celtics. So we'll see it. No, I'm not going to drink it live. Every once in a while, when something big is going on, I'll have a drink live. But I didn't see spam on the menu. So no. I'm going out. I'm not sitting here. I'm going out. So that's what Kriss is doing this evening. It's still a couple hours away before tip-off. So, hey, it's the weekend. I'll probably have a video coming out sometime this weekend. I'll be live again on Monday, next live stream. Make sure you're subscribed. You have your notifications. Always like the streams. Appreciate the support. Hope everyone has a great weekend. We'll see you next time.
Dogecoin, which started as a complete joke, has like skyrocketed to not a joke anymore. It hit an all-time high of almost 10 cents yesterday, but it was so minuscule you wouldn't have understood why you have millions of shares.
Didn't Elon tweet that too?
And arguably, the most entertaining outcome and the most ironic outcome would be that Dogecoin becomes the currency of Earth in the future.